ॐ नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. My namaskars to everyone at Vivekananda Educational Society and to all the faculty members also, everyone gathered here, and really delighted to be here. And after hearing the achievements of this educational society and this college, it's something to be proud of. Your institution bears a great name, the name of Vivekananda, and only when you grow up you will know how lucky you were to be studying here in such an ambience, because in today's world it is rare even to get this ambience, and if you go outside India you will understand the value of this, the worth of this culture. So since you are studying here, I expect a lot of attentiveness from all of you. Yes? Will you give me that much for the next 1 hour? And after this, we'll have a question answer session. So listen to it carefully. I'm not going to spare you because I'm going to introduce some level of yoga and Vedanta into this talk, which, today in a way we are disconnected from some very deep ideas which are the foundations of our culture. अगर उनको आप समझ पाओ, उनको थोड़ा पकड़ लो, you don't know how clear your mind will remain. Today's topic is mind management, but you must understand the very basis of your mind lies in your consciousness. If you have some idea of that and the enormous light which our spiritual heritage has to throw upon this, problems concerning mind management like anxiety, depression, stress, all this will just not come into your life. Itna simple hai. But if you don't connect with these deep ideas, then on a very superficial level we can keep doing mind management, through counseling, through giving you some superficial solutions. So let us not do that here. You are children of this heritage, you have inherited this great culture, you are connected with Vivekananda, you must be able to draw from the source straight, and you must be able to apply it in your everyday life. Because Vivekananda was very clear, these ideas are not for mountain caves. They may have originated there, that's where they originate usually. But they are not meant to be restricted there. They have to come into the everyday life of our people and inspire especially our young generation to take them up and to build your life and change the very face of our nation into what you want it to be. This is the expectation, great expectation from you. And Vivekananda had the greatest faith in young people. Usually that is not the case with every elder. Not that they will have faith in teenagers, but Vivekananda was adamant. He used to say, from amongst the youth will come my lions, who will work out the whole problems, the problems facing India by themselves. His entire faith was in our youth force. So if you don't take these ideas, you don't connect with it, what is the point? These ideas are such in-depth psychology actually, and such a profound philosophy, they arise from there, that some inkling of it, some taste of it you should develop at this very age. If you do that, you justify your worship of Vivekananda, because Vivekananda means powerful ideas being transmitted from a very powerful spiritual source. So connect with it and you will not suffer the unnecessary self-created problems of life. Let me tell you the first idea. I will give you one, two, three ideas on mind management. Then we go into the very source of Yoga Vedanta, from where these ideas we have acquired, we have got. The very first idea is, that of goal orientation. As young people, you must be very clear about your goals in life. Now you are 18, 19, 20. At this moment you should not say, oh, dekhenge, wherever the path opens, I will go there. No such thing. You know, leaders, they make paths. They are able to say, I know where I want to go and I know how I will achieve my goal. If this goal orientation has not come into your life, better make things clear. You cannot control your mind because you have nowhere to go as yet. No destination. So no road to it. So you will go anywhere. See, just now when we were coming to this college, so many crossroads. Because we knew we wanted to come to Vivekananda Education Society, we took particular roads to come here. If I didn't want to come here, I could have gone anywhere all over Mumbai. But because I knew I wanted to come here, I took a particular road. So also you will take a particular path in life if you know where you want to go. Otherwise you can go anywhere and take any road. So let this haphazard way of working and thinking, let it not be part of your life. You must know where you want to go, what the purpose of human life is, how you want to lead it, what you want to achieve, and as a result, mind management will come to you directly. You know, there is a story of a prince who was very, very sickly. See, he is going to inherit a great wealth from his father. And so he was taking things easy. He was not trying to improve his health. He would not exercise. He would eat all sorts of things. And he remained sickly all through his childhood. Now the king was very worried. If the crown prince is so sickly, how will he run the kingdom tomorrow? So he tried all sorts of methods. He brought his physicians, his Ayurvedic doctors. Everybody came, treated the prince, did all they can, increased his diet, planned his diet well, made him exercise. They tried to do everything, but this prince, his health was not improving. If the physique is weak, you know, mind also tends to become weak. So it was seen that this child was fearful. This child was not very playful, very active, and he would become very reserved in the midst of his friends, no self-confidence. So all these problems were seen. But what to do? No solution. Then one day an old sadhu came to the kingdom, and the king called him privately into his palace, served him, and then the sadhu asked the king, oh, I see your kingdom is running very well, but do you have any problems? And then the king said, only one problem is there. See, my son, he is the only crown prince of this kingdom, my one and only son. He is very sickly. I am not able to build his health. He doesn't lack anything, but he has no health. So please, somehow you improve his physical and mental health. And then the sadhu whispered something into the Maharaja's ears. And then he went away. Next day, the Maharaja started work on a statue in his, the sculptor's place, his royal sculptor. He went to him and told him he wanted a statue of a very powerful, somebody like a Bhima, or a very powerful character with huge muscles and very well built torso and powerful face. He wanted such a sculpture built. And when it was such a sculpture crafted, then when it was ready, after a month's time, he went and installed it quietly into the prince's room. Now every day the prince would get up in the morning and see this figure, such a well-built figure, what muscles, radiant face, and full of confidence and strength. As soon as he saw that, he would feel, I should be like that. I should be like that. And then he would see himself and feel, what, I have no muscles at all, such a thin body. So he himself went and started exercising. And then even while eating his food, he would remember that image. That image inspired him. It was so inspiring. So every day his eyes fell on that image and he used to feel, I should be like that. And so he himself started doing everything required to build a strong body. And in about 3 months' time, he became strong. His body became strong. He developed muscles. He developed a strong face. He developed his biceps. He started taking training, started doing gymnastics. All his friends were amazed. And the king was very proud looking at this change. And the courtiers were very happy. So they fed him well. Now he started eating also. Why? In his mind was an ideal. In his mind was a goal. I have to become like that. How can I have such a body? You see, that is why we say an ideal, a great goal is the starting point of a great life. If I am not at all idealistic, you will go anywhere. Vivekananda used to say, if a man with an ideal commits a few mistakes, a man without an ideal will commit 1,000 mistakes. So it is always good to have a great ideal in life. This is how I want to live my life. This is what I want to become. This is the first point you must know. All mind management problems come into us if we are not definite about our goals. Then you have time to waste, nowhere to go, nowhere to reach. So the mind will keep busy with your Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp and all this. You are just wasting time. Please see this. Unless there is something valuable to connect. What is there to connect so much? First, you must have your great goals to achieve. I want to become somebody. Then you share whatever you build, whatever value you get, that you share with the whole world. But first, at this age, it must be all about building life, building a great career, building your life's goals, becoming somebody. Your nation requires this spirit. So don't be easygoing about this. Like that prince, you are inheritors of a great fortune. If you build your health, your physical health, mental health, if you build your physique, you will also build your mind. Because if you have a very weak body, the mind also tends to become weak. Once this strength comes into your mind through a strong body, you will see clearly that confidence, concentration, attention spans, sustained attention, all this is very easy. It is not difficult because your life energy is all blooming. It is flowing in a particular direction. So getting this direction in life is most important. First thing, if you do not have direction, the mind will keep playing the fool. So this is the first point which I wanted to tell you. Secondly, don't ever be afraid of failures in life. Today, a little bit of something, what you aimed at, you couldn't achieve. That doesn't mean a single thing. Failures are the stepping stones to success. And so never think that because I didn't get the marks I expected, or I'm not able to get admission somewhere where I wanted, so I can't do anything in life. This kind of negativity should not come into your lives. I hear students saying such things nowadays. Even students of IIT do this. This should not be part of your thinking after reading Vivekananda. In Vivekananda's life, there's a remarkable incident which I read just today morning. It so happened that, have you heard of the name of Pauhari Baba? He was a saint of Ghazipur. So Vivekananda was close to Pauhari Baba at one point in his life. When he was in his ashram, he heard a story about Pauhari Baba. That was, one day it so happened that a thief entered Pauhari Baba's ashram. It was not an ashram, it was actually a small cave, and took away whatever was there, and that time Baba was not there. He was a saint of a very high order, a great yogi. So the thief bundled up whatever he could find, a few vessels and a few pieces of cloth, whatever he found, he bundled up and he was trying to run away when Pauhari Baba came there. Now Pauhari Baba saw what he was doing, and this thief also became very anxious and started running. And Pauhari Baba ran behind him. And the thief thought, he's coming to catch me, to give me to the police. So he started running further. Pauhari Baba finally overpowered him and caught him and said, "You forgot this particular item. Take this also. You need it, I don't need it. Take all this. I keep getting from devotees, but you take it." And this man, this thief, dropped what he was taking and said, "From such a soul, I am stealing." It created a great change in him. When Vivekananda heard this story in Pauhari Baba's ashram, then Pauhari Baba came back. But you know what happened to the thief? After many years, Vivekananda was moving in the Himalayas, and there he suddenly came across a sadhu with a very luminous visage. The appearance was very bright, and Vivekananda thought that this man has attained some height. And he asked him, a conversation started, he asked him who he was, and he said, "You do not know who is the transforming agent in my life. It is Pauhari Baba." And then Swamiji asked him who he was, and he said, "Once I was a petty thief, and I went to steal in Pauhari Baba's ashram. And I packed up whatever I was there, and I was running away, and Pauhari Baba came running behind me and asked me to take whatever he had in his hand and also gave me some food. Take this and go, you require it." That changed me completely. And looking at this, Vivekananda would later on say, saints are potential sinners. Potential sinners later on become saints. I don't mean to say saints are potential sinners. What I mean to say is a sinner can become a potential saint. He is a potential saint. He grows to be a saint if he comes under such influence. So second important thing I want to tell you is, don't give in to failures. If you have failed, go into the right company. If you have the company of saintly souls, very positive minds, you will be transformed. And this is available to you. You are studying in such a great institution. I met many of your faculty members, very positive mindset. They are all inspired by Vivekananda. So you can connect with these minds. Read something of this literature every day. You should not go into negativity. A positive influence falling on your mind, and it will build your life. But if you go into negative mindsets, such people also will be around you. Then you will not be able to build this great life. So this is the second thing, practical thing you should know, because you are very young children. I am telling you in very simple terms. Try to find good and great company in your vicinity. Always connect with the greatest minds and you will become great. Don't go into negativity, even through the media, even through your exposures. Don't go into anything negative. Our culture has made things very simple for us. The cause for all youth problems today mainly is emotional insecurities, isn't it? Unnecessary anxieties, fears, depression, and the cause for emotional insecurity? You have not raised your energy towards a high ideal. Toxic thoughts in the mind coming from all sorts of exposures. Toxic thoughts का मतलब है, this also is very, very, very clear in our culture, cultural values. ये जो षड्रिपु होते हैं मनुष्य के जीवन में, काम, क्रोध, मद, लोभ, मोह, मात्सर्य, these 6 groups of thoughts, they are called toxic thoughts. They will only bring negative emotions into your mind. That is the result for all your negativity, like fear, anxiety, depression, because energy is not getting raised up. Where it should go, where it should remain, it is not going there. So negativity is coming into your life, and you are asking, you are going to counselors, you are going for antidepressants and asking, why fear in my life, why this insecurity? Because you are destined for great things and your energy is not flowing towards that. It has got entangled in negative thoughts due to all these toxic exposures. So get out of this. Read Vivekananda's life. Thoda bhi aapne agar padha hoga, you will see what a mind that is. How powerful. Connect with that mind through his books, through his thoughts. You will just come out of this. Your energy is meant for great things. Your life is meant for great things. How can you give it into all these foolish, sloppy things? This frivolous attitude, no seriousness about anything, cynicism. Get out of this. Shraddha is the starting point of a great life. Nachiketa का नाम सुना है आपने कठोपनिषद में? Shraddha Vivesha, Shraddha, he's a young lad like you. And what message he gives? He gives the message of original inquiry, original questioning into the very nature of life great pursuit right from the beginning, great ideals right from the beginning. He simply puts aside all temptation and says, Bahunamemi prathamo, bahunamemi madhyamaha. I may not be the best, but I am not the least. I am somebody and I will achieve what I have set out to achieve. This is the spirit of the Upanishads which Vivekananda used to love. They are the very foundational scriptures of our culture. उनके साथ अगर आप connect ना करो, you will not understand what India stands for, what India means. What is it that we have to give to the world? Whenever I have gone out of India, their greatest sensitivity, in all those nations is towards our cultural and spiritual ideals. So अगर इसका एक touch आपके जीवन में ना आए, how will you understand the glory of this nation? This is a nation which has invested its greatest energies, greatest minds for the longest periods of time in spiritual inquiry. In this original search after who the human being actually is. मैं कौन हूँ? ये क्वेश्चन आपके मन में आता है कभी? Who am I? Can I be just this body? It is changing so much. One day it will fall. Can I be just this? यही था नचिकेता का इंक्वायरी. ये यम प्रेते विचिकित्सा मनुष्ये अस्तिति एके नायम अस्तिति चैके एतद विद्या अनुशिष्टस्त्वयाहम वराणामेश वरिस्थितिय. He is asking Lord Yama, what survives man after death? Who is the real I? Who am I? तो ये inquiry, this is an inquiry. This is not a belief system. This is a culture of inquiry. This is a culture of inner research. इसके साथ अगर आप थोड़ा सा connect कर लो, mind management is not even an issue. Because essentially you are not just body and mind, you are the Atman functioning through a body-mind complex. You are essentially awareness. Just now I will prove to you what I am trying to say. You are awareness functioning through a body-mind complex. If you perceive yourself like this, body and mind are instruments in your hands, which you can handle as you want to handle. You are not merely body and mind. You are the Atman functioning through this body-mind complex. What does this kind of thinking bring you? Why should this kind of thinking be given to you? Because, see for yourself just now. Sit straight, the youngsters there especially. Otherwise you can't catch this logic. This is a kind of logic which I'm trying to give you now. How do you know who you truly are? Right now you can know. If you follow a simple technique, आप ही पर experiment हो रहा है, आप देखो. See, you pass through so many stages. The average age here, I think, is about 20. Yes? So, if you till the age of 20, you have passed through various stages of life. 20 years you have lived. You were that baby, you were a toddler, you were that little child, then you entered your teenage years, now you are 20 years old. अब आप देखिए, if I give you a photograph of you as a baby, can you recognize it? A little hazily you can recognize. But what I want you to observe is your body has undergone so much of change. Your mind has changed completely, isn't it? And further on as you progress in life, your body and mind will keep changing. लेकिन एक बात आप notice करो, the same baby is the same toddler, is the same teenager, is the same you just now. The I is common. I was that baby, I was that toddler, isn't it? एक ही I has passed through the whole of this. So there is an unchanging element in you which acknowledges all this change, the change of the body and mind. If you were just the body, that is a different personality altogether. You are today a different personality. But the same I has persisted. You say, I was that baby, I was that teenager, now I am this. So when the I is common there, that I has a dimension not merely physical and mental, because both of these dimensions have changed. Are you getting the point? So the real I in you is apart from body and mind. It is of the nature of your awareness. See, awareness does not change. Body-mind complex keeps changing. But the awareness of who the I is, that does not change at all in your life. इसीलिए even when you are 60 years old, you will be saying the same I. वही मैं था, अब मैं ये हूँ. The I is the same again. So there is an element in you. There is a dimension of you which does not change. That is the real you, the unchanging you. That is pure consciousness or awareness. इसी को हम आत्म वस्तु कहते हैं. Atman, which you are, which is functioning through this body-mind complex. What does this thinking give you? It gives you great strength. No matter what happens to the body and mind, you know you are separate from them. You can handle them positively. Isn't it? You are not frightened of change anymore. Vivekananda used to say, the Upanishads are the great mine of strength. In them lies strength enough to revolutionize the whole world. Because of this simple fact that the real nature of man is consciousness, not matter, not merely body and mind. Once you get a hold over this idea, अपना ही परिचय दे रहे हैं. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? हाँ? आपको आपका ही परिचय दे रहे हैं. The real you is a unit of consciousness functioning through this body-mind complex. What will this understanding give me? Strength. It will give me clarity in my head. I am not confused. Whatever is happening in my head, whether anger is happening or anxiety is happening, I am apart from it. It is as much an object as this is an object in front of me. I am not the anger. I am not the hatred in my mind. I am separate from it. So I can handle it. So I can make it positive in degrees. So this understanding of our real nature is fundamental to handling your mind and your physical mechanism. अगर ये understanding ना हो, you get mixed up with the emotions of your mind. You know, somebody throws a bad word at you, immediately आप क्या करोगे? इसने मुझे ऐसा कहा, बस. I also explode on that person. Immediate reaction. Why? I have united with the anger in my mind. But if I am a little distant from that anger, I will see it rising and I will think, no, if I explode, only I complicate the situation. That was just an outpouring of his bad mood. Let me not complicate the situation. So you will bear it, maybe even smile at that person, and that person will understand you are beyond all this silliness. So you saved the situation. This control over your own mind, your own faculties, comes through this form of thinking. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? See, let me give you another very simple example. Mind management will become very easy if you learn to stand a little apart from your mental faculties, a little apart from your emotions. If you are mixed up with them, it is difficult. Usually in yoga, psychology and Vedanta, how we explain this is, we use the example of a ink bottle. ये ध्यान से सुनना आप. It will be useful to you, this concept. See, usually how this mechanism is functioning, you know, through your senses you are taking in impressions all the time. Isn't it? आज आपने एक movie देखा आपके मोबाइल पर. Whole next week you were brooding over that movie. What you take in through your senses is becoming the content of your mind. You are thinking of that again and again. And what you repeat in your mind becomes your memory, right? And that memory goes into your subconscious mind and you forget it, but it stays there. After some time it will bloom again in your conscious mind. And तब आपको लगेगा ये चिंताधारा कहाँ से आई? मैंने तो सोचा नहीं था इसके बारे में. It is your own conscious thinking which is getting recycled and coming back to you through the subconscious. So आपकी करनी है ये full. All problems are to a great extent self-created. This is what I am telling you. Now, how do you change this situation? How do I get good thoughts and good memories? First of all, good exposures. And secondly, I have to handle my inner world. अब देखिए आपने इतना कुछ intake करके रखा है Your memories will keep popping up from time to time. How do I clean that up? All our fears, our anxieties, many times they are memories, isn't it? How do I change them? So for that, we give this simple example of an ink bottle. आप देखिए आपके पास एक ink bottle है which contained dark blue ink. Today I know not many of you might be using ink bottles. आजकल तो ये है, लेकिन फिर भी in this example, suppose you want to make this bottle clean. This is an example for your own mind. I want to remove the darkness in the bottle. I want to remove the darkness in my mind, the negativities in my mind. What will I do with that ink bottle first? I will pour out the dark ink completely. Then I will start pouring good water. I will hold it under the tap, and in the beginning only little dark water only will come out. Isn't it? Because there's still ink in that bottle. As I keep pouring fresh water, nice water, at some point the ink will become less dark and lighter. At some point fresh water will start coming out, right? And then you have, as it were, cleansed that ink bottle. Now anything you put into that bottle, it will come out like that. That same thing will come out. It is not colored by anything in the bottle. Your mind also functions like this. You see, just now maybe negativities in the mind. So to a certain extent you isolate them, don't think about them, and start pouring in good water. Start pouring in good stuff. See, senses are meant to take in good things in life. अब ये good and bad क्या है आपको पता है. I don't have to tell you. Good thing means anything that is positive content to your mind, which will help you grow. Bad thing is that which is vulgar, which is low, which simply is waste of time. If you keep your senses open only to good stuff, the content of your mind will keep on changing. The problem starts from here, from your exposures. So if you keep pouring fresh water into the bottle, for some time a little dark water will come out in the form of thoughts. Isn't it? That's your mind. But after some time you will see only fresh water is coming out, because you are taking in very good exposure. In the form of exposure, you're taking in very good data. Only that will get circulated in your head. That goes into your subconscious. That becomes your memories. It will replace all the negative memories, and only good will come out of you. So the entire mechanism of this body-mind complex is being controlled by you to a great extent. So don't blame other people and other things in your life, your friends, your parents. Don't do all this. You are in charge of your personality. Vivekananda ye hamesha कहते थे that man is the creator of his own destiny. You are verily what your thoughts have made you, he says. So take care of what you think, what you take in, what you allow to circulate in your head is going to decide your destiny, your future. So you are the creators of your own destiny, and don't ever blame anybody in your life, because that will never work. So just now, at this age, you must stand up strong and say, I will create a great future for myself, with a philosophy like Vedanta behind you, with a psychology like yoga behind you. How can you falter? How can you go into negativity? It is next to impossible. If it is happening in our lives, it means I have not connected to my roots. I have not gone to these source ideas at all. Just read Vivekananda's life and you will see how easy it is to overcome these problems. Let me give you another example here for you to understand your own real nature. I told you that is at the heart of mind management. I cannot believe you can manage your mind if you are only the mind. Only when you are apart from the mind, you can handle it as an object, so you can change it as you want. अब आप देखो, I will ask you a simple question. Answer it, think and answer me. Are you aware of your body, or is your body aware of you? You are aware of your body? Huh? Are you aware of your mind, or is your mind aware of you? You are aware of your mind? I mean your thoughts. Now, suppose you are just now thinking of mind management. Are you aware of that thinking, or is the mind in some way aware of you? You are aware. What does this mean? This means awareness is you. It belongs to the subject, and everything else is an object to it. Simple logic I gave you, but it has, उसका तात्पर्य बहुत बड़ा है. Its implication is enormous. You are the subject, pure awareness, seeing your mind and body as an object. Just now, this is your experience. आप ही ने तो बोला, I am aware of the body, I am aware of the mind. This is Vedanta. Vedanta is not a hi-fi philosophy. It is the reality of your everyday life. It is your existential experience. You have not seen it because it is not part of our educational apparatus. You miss the basic point about your life. You are always aware, occasionally identified with your thought process, very occasionally identified with this body and with the world of objects. But आपने अभी तक सोचा ही नहीं है how this mechanism works and who I truly am. So a little bit of this understanding should come into your life in a very deep way. I, the awareness, am experiencing even my body and mind as an object and this world of objectivity. If I have no idea of myself as I am, how am I going to make a proper idea of the world around me? Tell me. Are you getting my question? If you don't know who you are, is there any point in knowing who that person is, what the whole world is about? I don't know who I am. So this is the great search, the great inquiry of the Upanishads. Who am I? Who is the human being? How does he work? How does he function? If you draw a little from this source, mind management is not even an issue, as I told you. You can very well handle your mind. No negativity will come into your life. Let us give you experiment number 3. Are you getting something from this? I told you I am not going to spare you. Some amount of Yoga Vedanta should go into your head so that you understand the glory of your culture. What you have to contribute to this world. Look at the level of inquiry and thinking here. आप ही के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, so you should be interested. Yes? Okay, now third experiment which I will give you is, see, you pass through 3 states of experience every day. Can you tell me what are the 3 states? 3 states of experience are common to all of us. क्या है वो 3 states? Don't tell me I feel lazy in the morning and I study. They are not common states for all of us, but to all of us there are 3 common states. Okay, let me make it easier for you. Just now you are in the waking state, right? All of you are awake, I hope? Yes. There is another state where you are not awake. What is that state? Dream. There is another state which you experience every day. What is that state? Deep sleep. Sushupti जो कहते हैं. You every day experience these 3 states. इसको हम कहते हैं जागृत, waking state. Then you experience dream state, swapnavastha it is called, and you experience deep sleep state. Every day each one of us is experiencing this. Now you see your experience of the Jagrat, a little bit you should study how you are functioning. You see, just now our senses are active. Mind is also active. So we are taking in impressions through this mechanism, through the senses and mind. If the senses and mind are active, you are in waking state. In dream state, when you went home, did all your tuitions, everything, night 10 o'clock you fell asleep. And you went into dream world. You started dreaming something. Now there you see, senses, are they active? No. Mind, is it active? Yes. So, swapnavastha means senses inactive, mind active. And you cook up your own world, and in the dream you absolutely believe it to be true. है ना? Dream में you never doubt the dream. Because if you doubt the dream, you will wake up. You are in the Jagrat state if you doubt the dream. So dream means you are in a totally different world which you have spun and in which you are completely involved, and it doesn't appear like a dream, it appears real in that state, hai na? Huh? If you are being chased by a tiger, actually you feel fear. So dream state is when senses are closed but mind is active. Your subconscious mind especially has spun the dream. Now this is your second avastha every day. The third avastha is you go into the state of deep sleep where there is no dream. So no senses and no mind also. Right? Mind is the factor for experience. What is proof that there is no mind? I have no experience in deep sleep. No experience of objects. But please see this, the wonderful thing is, आपको पता है इस जागृत अवस्था में that you had no experience in deep sleep state. Now somebody should have been there, present, to tell you there was no experience. Who was present? How were you present in that state to tell I had no experience? So, if I will put a simple question to you, आपको पता कैसे चलता है कि सुषुप्ति स्टेट में कुछ भी मैंने ऑब्जेक्ट, कोई ऑब्जेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया, विच मीन्स यू आर वेरी मच देयर, सो यू नो देयर वॉज नो एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स. सो टेल मी, इज इट एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ एन एब्सेंस और एब्सेंस ऑफ एन एक्सपीरियंस? Experience of absence. What is actually happening is subliminal awareness has been there. Awareness is always there. Your mind was not functioning, mind was shut down. So you say, well, I didn't experience anything at that time. I didn't know anything. I slept happily, I was in happiness, but I didn't experience anything at that time. Basically what has happened? Mind has shut down. But you saw that mind was absent and senses were absent. So no experience. Which means you are always there. Whether you are waking, dreaming or in deep sleep state, ये जो unchanging I है आप में, consciousness, it is always there in all your states of experience. That is why it is apart from this waker, which you feel is only body-mind. It is apart from the dreamer and it is apart from the deep sleeper. In a way, these states passed over you. You are always there as consciousness. See, your everyday life's experience proves to you, you are always there as consciousness. Body and mind is changing. And you are experiencing life through body and mind. So you feel you are only body and mind. But you are always present as awareness apart from body and mind. Even if something happens in the body, some external instrument has to tell you, है ना, अगर पेट में दर्द हो जाए, you require CT scan or ultrasound or endoscopy, something to tell you what is the problem where. Can you pinpoint the problem? That unaware are you of your body. Just because the world wants you to identify with this, at present you are identified a bit. But your experience of yourself always is one of awareness. थोड़ा ध्यान करके देखो ये ठीक है या नहीं जो हम कह रहे हैं. Your experience of yourself is not even mind. Awareness is the primary thing about you. Something far more fundamental to your mental processes. Far more fundamental to your mind. And you are functioning through a body-mind complex. Just like how my voice is apart from this mic. Isn't it? It is just magnifying that voice. But my voice is not this mic. So also, consciousness is always apart from body-mind function. But it is functioning through it. It is expressing through it. So you appear to be this body and mind. ये अगर पकड़ पाओ, अपने ही एक्सपीरियंस का अनुभव है ये, है ना, अपना ही एक्सपीरियंस है, ये अगर पकड़ पाओ, you will understand a dimension of yourself which the Upanishads are constantly talking about. You are essentially the Atman, है ना? If you read Kathopanishad, Ishopanishad, constantly they will be telling you this. Our entire culture is based on this thinking. Why is it a cautious, responsible culture? Go out of India and you will understand the value of this culture. Why is it telling you, live carefully, train your mind, train your system for a better experience of life. Shreyas and prayas दो अलग चीज़ें हैं. Your culture tells you all these things. Why? So that you do not falter. You do not give in to the lower things of life. You are able to build a great life. You are able to achieve human goals. The goal of human life is to reach this realization of the Atman, is to know yourself as you truly are, that you are able to connect with this, your highest dimension, so your culture is so cautious. देखिए, only in Indian culture you will find this distinction between Shreyas and Prayas. श्रेय का क्या मतलब है? मराठी मध्ये पण आहे श्रेय शब्द. श्रेय का क्या मतलब है? That which is good for you. Prayas is that which is only pleasant to your senses. The two are different. Only this culture will give you this, because it is there in the Kathopanishad. Shreyascha preyascha manushyametat tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. A real dhira will be able to separate, see this clearly, that the good is different from the pleasant. All that glitters is not gold. And he will cautiously, responsibly move through life. तो इतने great ideas आप ही के heritage में है. Why should you not draw from it? Why should you suffer negativities? A life of positivity is possible if you can handle your body-mind complex and not succumb to it. And this you can only do if there is a spiritual background, if there is this knowledge in the background, so that you are able to handle your body-mind complex as you want. Once you handle this, you can handle anybody in the world. You can handle anything in the world. But if this base is unstable, everybody will handle you, because you yourself are unstable. So, ये clear कर लो अपने में. This is the great contribution India has to make. The science of human consciousness, the reach of human consciousness. This is Yog Vedant. अगर इसमें एक hold मिल जाए आपको, all these silly problems, they will appear silly to you. They are not even issues for you. And you will make very positive contribution both to this nation and to the world. So with this, let me end my talk. I think time is up. But we will take up the question answer session, because I want participation. I am not just going to keep talking. So we will stop the talk and I will take up your questions.
Ma'am, actually I have two questions. Number one is, many a times we dream about falling from a staircase or a river or a heighted place. So ma'am, what is that about? Like, is it a fear of something, or like we are insecure of something?
Yes.
I always have this question in my mind.
Yes. Especially when we are sick with fever and all that, that time this dream comes that you are falling from somewhere. See, the point is this: dreams come from your subconscious mind. Subconsciously, there are a number of what are called survival instinct fears, which means we fear certain basic things like falling from great heights. Different types of phobias are there. So all these are, your conscious mind is not aware of them, but they are deep in your subconscious. So when you are in a vulnerable situation, they pop up. Like when you are sick and you are laden with fever maybe, then you may get such dreams. The way to overcome them is, don't think too much about them. See, I gave you a very powerful idea. You are not just your mind, not even your subconscious mind. You are far greater than that. You are above that. You can handle your mind very well. All knowledge, power, energy, everything that you want is right within you, because you are the Atman. Vivekananda used to say, call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakens. Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, all that is excellent will come once the soul is aroused to self-conscious activity. So the way to overcome these problems is, you must connect with your source. And you will see they will just fall off. It doesn't matter if you suffer a bad dream. You are not your mind even, basically. Yes?
Yeah, and ma'am, another question is, there are certain factors like bad weather conditions,
Yes.
and sometimes it depresses more. Is that related with our mind? For example, an
Yes.
earthquake and
Yes, yes.
monsoon season, and sometimes like
Yes.
we feel very bad. We feel suddenly we feel depression. I mean,
See, these are all moods of mind.
okay,
Now, the mind itself is a huge subject for study, which you will find in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Mind can create a heaven out of hell, a hell out of heaven, right?
yes,
So, mind, you must be able to handle it very positively, maturely, no matter what the outer circumstances are. Then these mood swings will not come into your life. Basically, you are asking that why in certain times I feel better, sometimes I feel depressed, why this happens? This all happens because you are identified with the mind. So, a little distance and you can handle it better.
okay. Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to know कि how we know ourselves, who I am.
Okay.
अपने आप को कैसे पहचाने?
Just now I introduced you to self-inquiry. It was an introduction to Vedant. लेकिन अगर इसको अनुभव करना हो तो meditation का योग बल चाहिए. The power of meditation you require to go into this. So brief meditation you will find in Vivekananda's works. You can try to practice that. But most important condition for meditation is the clarity of one's mind, the purity of one's mind. That is important for meditation. नहीं तो meditation also can take you many places. Because most people are concentrating on the wrong things. Yes, there is some amount of murmuring here. Why? This is a question important for all of us. See, if you want to meditate, there are certain preliminary conditions which you should satisfy. If you satisfy them, you can practice meditation easily. Basically, मन में अच्छे अच्छे भावों को cultivate करना. This is the basic thing required. Good feelings, attitudes of service, they have therapeutic effect. If all this is cultured in the mind will naturally remain sober and happy and glad. With such a positive mind, you can practice meditation. If you are in an angry mood and you sit for meditation and you are meditating on your enemy, then that meditation has no value. है ना? Her question is, since we are multitasking, it is possible for us to become multi-negative. That's your question. See, let me tell you, all problems occur because I cannot handle this properly. I may be multitasking. I have seen master multitaskers who are very, very calm. If my mind has no stable base, no stable platform to function upon, then and I take up too much activity, I will make a mess of things. I am part of the problem which I am talking about because my mind is untrained. If you train your mind a bit, Yog Vedanta usi ke liye hai, you will see multitasking is not a huge problem. You can do many things if the mind is very stable and calm. है ना, आपने ये देखा है? Sometimes when your mind is very calm, really, you can do a lot of things. But if it's in a very restless state and you try to do 10 things, you will get into trouble. In fact, you are the problem which you are talking about. So be careful. Essential thing is to somehow bring this into our hands. That's the point.
I will ask a question on behalf of the students.
Okay.
These teachers, they gave us so much work to do, so much studies to be done, and you are asking us to read Upanishads and Vivekananda. How to manage that?
Oh. So, on behalf of all of you, he has asked the question. You already have such a huge syllabus and you have your deadlines and exams, and I am telling you read Upanishads. So I will reduce my syllabus. Just 5 minutes आप योग कर सकते हो या पढ़ना, one of the two. 5 minutes of either some form of yoga, which means calming your mind, some technique for calming your mind, or reading an elevating passage from Vivekananda or Bhagavad Gita, 5 minutes के लिए. Early morning if you do it, as soon as you get up, it may be 8 o'clock. I know nowadays early morning is 8 o'clock. So even if it is that time, if you do this for 5 minutes, it will make a big change in you. 5 minutes इसमें invest करना. So I reduced my syllabus. I'm not telling you read Upanishads now, start reading Vivekananda's works because they are huge again. So start step by step. In holidays you can do a little more. When you have time you can do a little more. But everyday basis, thoda connecting with great ideas you should do. Okay? This much you can do? No problem? Yes.
First of all, good afternoon, ma'am. It was great listening to you. Ma'am, you gave an example about that ink bottle.
Yes.
And you told us to inculcate good thoughts.
Yes.
So my question is that it sometimes happens that why are you're always trying to be positive.
Yes.
There is some thought which comes in your mind.
Yes.
It comes subconsciously and you go all in negation. So my actual question is that how to be that always pour good thoughts in the mind.
See, again he is asking about that cycle which I told you. He says subconsciously a negative thought comes and it ruins your mood. This is natural. Now from how it is coming subconsciously, it has gone into your memory. It has become part of your memory. Most of your thoughts, conscious thoughts also are memories. Some point of time you took in some negative impression, repeated it in your conscious mind, it went into the subconscious and became a memory. Then after some time it will blossom into your conscious mind and then you don't like it, the mood kharab ho jata hai, aise hota hai. Now the way to change this is, if I continuously keep taking in positivity through my senses to begin with, through what I circulate in my mind, which is to a great extent what I take in through my senses, only if positive content is there, your memories also will keep changing, they become positive. So habits of mind can be replaced. You cannot suddenly change, but you can replace them. I am inclined only towards what is good and noble and great in life. That's why I said this is the first step. I will not give in to frivolous, silly, stupid stuff, which is just like a time pass ke liye jo, today's students, when they get very restless, कुछ वो mobile on करके कुछ एक देख लिया. Arey, it is easy to erase things on your mobile. It is not easy to erase things from your head. So what you take in becomes very important in your thought world. So take in good stuff continuously. इसीलिए मैंने कहा 5 minutes of elevating literature per day. So that the mind is geared up. And if you do this, gradually your memories will keep changing. And connect with good minds, holy ambience. This is invaluable for a good life. You know very well the difference between a theatre and a temple. The very atmosphere is different. So agar aap connect kar lo with very positive, great vibrations, your mind will lift up. Itna simple hai. Aapko karna hai thoda bas. So become sensitive to all this. This is part and parcel of your own cultural values. है ना? इसीलिए we try to preserve all these things. You see, temples have been preserved for centuries. Why? Those holy vibrations are important to lift the mind. So it is important to sanctify one's life, to raise one's mind, to control one's energies in order to have a good life. ये कोई imposition नहीं कर रहे हैं, आपका freedom restrict नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are only elevating your energies to a higher level so that you have a better experience of life. जिन्होंने सात्विक लाइफ ना टेस्ट किया हो, उन्होंने लाइफ ही टेस्ट नहीं किया है अभी तक, है ना? हाँ, अगर मन तमस में हो हमेशा, can you taste the glory of life? इसलिए get out of it. Make this your default mode. Sattvic ways of living. ठीक है? Yes.
We will respond in various ways you've already described. Are there any questions or statements that I should check with myself to know, is this what my Atma is wanting or is this what my body is wanting?
Yes, exactly. See, it's a beautiful question she has asked. हमारे अंदर एक conscience, there's something called a conscience. You must check with that conscience. Whenever, see, I told you there's a distinction between what is good and what is pleasant. Whenever something appears before you, you must ask yourself, just now I feel an urge to eat an ice cream. Is it good for me or is it good for me to eat fruit? Fruit. Somebody said fruit. So you know what is good for you actually. So the senses and maybe my mind are craving for the ice cream, but I know fruit is good for me. So I will opt for fruit. So this distinction, if you consult with your conscience, it will tell you the right answer, always. If you consult only the senses, they may give you the very wrong answer.
Ma'am, is it our minds knows what is reality and what is illusion?
What is reality and what is
No,
illusion?
is it our minds knows what is reality and what is illusion?
No, our mind does not know.
No.
Many times our mind is ignorant of what is reality and what is illusion. But if you train that mind, it will touch reality. And it will know what illusion is. Usually an untrained mind is not able to know. When we don't know the distinction between Shreyas and Preyas, how will you know the distinction between reality and illusion? Training is required. इसीलिए तो योग, the entire science, Yoga and Vedanta. Vedanta is the science of consciousness and Yoga is the technology of consciousness. How do you do it? Through Yoga. What do you attain? You attain the science, you attain Vedanta, the knowledge of Vedanta. So these are all very powerful systems of thought. See, when you become a little older, you will understand their immense value for this world, for a great human life. So, thoda initiation, mane abhi se thoda start kar lo, and you will build up on this further.
On behalf of all teachers, I want to ask you one question. See, teaching is a very easy job, but nowadays students are being attracted towards mobile, busy with their own world. How to make them online, on time, very little time we have to teach them. So they are very distracted. So do you have any small practical exercise so that we will make them to focus on time, all the things properly? It is very difficult task now.
It is very difficult, I know. See, I am also a teacher, so I know. One thing which I can tell you is, there must be, just like how you have PTM, there must be parent orientation meetings also. It is very important. Parents and teachers should work hand in hand. If the child gets an atmosphere in the school and a completely different atmosphere at home, and absolutely no guidance at home, then it is difficult to handle that child. So teachers and parents must bond. They must work hand in hand. In our schools, we do it. There is a parents orientation program where the needs of the child are discussed and how to handle these situations are discussed. Many times both parents are working, so the child is left to itself, so it develops these habits. So to replace these habits, there are measures, there are ways it can be overcome. और basically जो हम संस्कार कहते हैं, this is for the teachers and parents to give. That is why they are the actual torchbearers of change. Teachers and parents, not your economy, not your policymakers, not administration. Teachers and parents are the actual mobilizers of a society. They can make the change required. So you must take it into your hands. If this college also institutes something like this, that there is a parents orientation before the new course starts, and periodically it is renewed. If you can make something like this, I think that will work for this problem. Teacher and student level, see, today's students, so much of exposure is there. What little you are telling is just an iota of what they are getting in various ways. So that little bit will only work if the personality of the teacher is dominating, which means I first inculcate yoga and Vedanta into my life. Yahi asal cheez hai. You see, a lighted torch will light another torch. I must feel intensely these ideas. This is what I would tell your teachers, especially of this institution. You already have it in you. Aap is ambience mein hi ho. You will be able to light up other minds if you feel intensely about this. The essential thing is feeling. मनुष्य जीवन को दिव्यत्व में परिणत करने के लिए क्या चाहिए आपको पता है. How do you elevate, enhance human life and make it divine? It is only possible if we have fiery teachers, people who have simply caught this spirit and will not bow down to anything else. Right? Yes. Tomorrow they will pick this spirit from you. So be adamant about this. This is what Vivekananda wanted. Great teachers, and we'll have a great nation.
You have answered partly in the previous question. What I wanted to emphasize, the same feeling as teachers, what our students are being exposed to daily is a big issue. On one hand, we tell our students to be sensitized to what is happening around them and what is being reported in the news from wherever they're seeing it affects them.
Yeah.
So they are, we ask them to be sensitized about it. At the same time, how do they not be, affected by that? So you answered part of the question, my question, but I would like you to address, because so much is happening around us that brings in negativity. So what can our students do to come above this situation?
See, the basic inclination towards goodness is a powerful sanskar of the human mind, which is actually put in by the mother. Now, however we have developed, if we want this inclination in our students that no matter what is happening around them, they are able to make the right choices, they are able to make the right decisions, we must check into their minds. Is this child of this type? Agar ye sanskar strong na ho, how to strengthen it? How to strengthen it? In schools, at school level, this should start that on an everyday basis you perform some act of kindness, some act of sharing, so that this becomes a sanskar in you. You know, when I was in school, we had to maintain a diary in which you had to write over the week, what good act you did to somebody. You had to write that. Every day I did this particular. So some children had to do the act in order to be able to write. So इससे क्या होता है, अगर आप करोगे आपको पता चलेगा how much of shubha sanskar it brings into you, how much of goodness and happiness it brings into you. So something like this must be started, where you are yourself able to feel, I take course in IIT, I give courses in IIT, and usually Vedanta courses, and there's a huge practical session there. Every practical session they have to go out and work in either orphanages or in slums to very poor children, so that they get the feel of giving, the joy of giving, the joy of helping another mind rise up. Help them with their most difficult subjects, help them in any way they can. That is a huge part of the practical. So agar aap unse karwaoge, then only this sanskar will grow. So invent methods to do this. This is what I would like to say. Practically it can be done. As part of any curriculum, you can have a practical session where the student has to perform acts of kindness and sharing and giving, and his nature will change. You can only bring happiness into your life if you give it to somebody. Hai na? This is the logic of spirituality. See, 2 minus 2 is equal to 0, according to mathematics. But when it comes to love, if you give your full love to somebody, it will only increase. You are not depleted of love. This is the logic of love and spirituality. So, देना सीखो. जितना दोगे उतना अंदर बढ़ जाएगा. जितना कम दोगे उतना डिप्लीट होता है. This is the strange mathematics of giving. So, these basic laws you should understand about human life. See, when people tell you your personality should be better, I think there is no harm in hearing them. But please remember, your personality still is an external part of your being. If you are devoted to the inner essence of your being, your personality will always be super fine. It will always be very ideal. But simply trying to transform acting a little better and a little sweeter, superficial ways of working. So when they are telling you your personality should be better, first make the inner change. इसका मतलब है मेरे भाव उन्नत होने चाहिए. मेरी चिंताधारा उन्नत होनी चाहिए, then मेरे actions, मेरे behavior, everything will be very good, very ideal. So this change is, there's no substitute to this change. But simply polishing the outside, you don't become very beautiful by just polishing the outside. अगर मन में अच्छे भाव हो, हृदय में प्रेम हो, you will exude joy, peace, light. So this is the way to change the personality according to the Indian ethos. है ना? Not just polishing the face. Let us stop. Okay.
Last question, ma'am. Namaskaram, Mataji. I want to ask so many questions from all the age group people here. It's a wonderful thing that everyone wants to upgrade and improvise their personalities. So even my friends share something with me, and I tells them that me needs to be improved. We come across so many speakers, but when it comes to the reality, when we want to practically apply it, it's difficult for yourself in a sitting or standing. You cannot do it alone. So there has to be one person, not the ideal. The ideal person may share its experiences, the thoughts, and may motivate you, but continually applying it in your daily lifestyle, there has to be one guru. And I think we have lost that Guru Shishya Parampara which we had. So can you share some thoughts about it?
Yes, a teacher is required, especially in this knowledge. What he says is right, but we have not lost the Guru Shishya Parampara. It is still there. See, if anything you want in life, there will always be a person who can help you with it. If you connect with that type of mind, in today's age, this is the age of connection. In today's age, if you want mental health, there are mental health gurus. You want physical fitness, there are physical fitness gurus. If you want spiritual wealth, then you must connect with some of the most disciplined, greatest minds available to us. And they are available. So Guru Shishya Parampara will never end. Only thing is, if you are very sensitive, you will find such a sensitive mind. It's like that. According to our own vibrations, we find people. So connect with great minds. This much I will tell you, and you will see further. Okay, let's stop here. Time is up.